DJ Lagway and the Florida Gators, after a really tough loss to LSU last week, head to Hard Rock Stadium to take on the now Heisman favorite Carson Beck and the Miami Hurricanes. And that is where we will start. Carson Beck has to be one of the best stories in college football this season. His play against USF was really good. The aggressiveness immediately pops off the tape. It pops off the television. He is spraying the football all over the field. He has great protection from that terrific offensive line. They are running the football, complementing his style of play. And it's not just Malachi Toney, the breakout true freshman star over the first couple of weeks. They got Joshua Moore going in this game. My favorite play of the game. One-on-one on the outside. Beck sort of underthrows Moore. Moore just makes a beautiful hands catch, and Miami jumps out to a really considerable lead before they had that delay, but that did not help USF whatsoever. We heard all the talk about Byron Brown and his ability to run the football. Dynamic runner. 13 carries for 2 yards on the day. Let's talk about DJ Lagway, because DJ Lagway did not have the best day against LSU. Now, when we think about that LSU and Florida game there in Death Valley, we have to talk about the 5 interceptions that Lagway played, but we also have to talk about how it felt like 2 different games. The game where Florida got out to the really strong defensive start, all of the talk about Caleb Banks returning to the defensive line, pairing him with Tyreak Sapp, one of the best defensive lines in college football. A defense that played at a really high level throughout the day. They got out to a 3-0 lead on the road. Really solid environment that they were able to keep quiet. And then a completely different game. DJ Lagway struggling, not seeing the field well, not being able to use his legs. Now, I'm going to talk on this point immediately, because in this matchup against the Miami Hurricanes, there's a certain player from LSU that Miami has. Harold Perkins. Harold Perkins is a one-of-a-kind type player in college football. He's really the only type of guy that can do what he does. Miami doesn't have a player like that. Frankly, no one else has a player like that to be able to mirror exactly what DJ Lagway is doing and ultimately take his legs fully out of the game. Perkins was all over the field making plays, and although he wasn't a crazy show up in the stat sheet, he impacted this game in a huge way. The only player I can kind of think of that has that type of impact is maybe Caleb Downs for Ohio State, 2 of the dynamic guys that can go around. But for Miami, though, how is Florida going to stop that run? Banks, again, we're hearing about all the talk about him being back, doesn't really show up in the stat sheet. He has not the impact on the game that we were expecting him to have. How does Florida stop that dynamic passing offense? A group of wide receivers that are talented. Last year's group for Miami, talented. The overlooked position, though, was running back. Jordan Lyle, Mark Fletcher. Lyle, obviously, not a really big player in this offense. It's all Mark Fletcher. Mark Fletcher has had an incredible season. He went 16 for 120, 2 touchdowns. That's 7.5 yards a carry. And they went for over 200 yards against USF. And remember, USF just played Florida. They just gave DJ Lagway a very tough day. Florida was messing around with the wrong opponent that day. They're in the swamp in Gainesville. And USF walked away with the win. I really believe that that game had an impact on the psyche of Florida heading into this matchup. That DJ Lagway didn't look confident in the pocket. Now, I have to give him a little bit of slack. A 5 interception performance. Watching that game, it seemed like his wide receivers were not getting open. We heard about the talent at wide receiver. How good that these guys are. How good that this group is going to be. They need to separate better. They need to give him opportunities. They got Mansour Delane. I get that. Right? Wes Weeks, a great linebacker that can cover. He can roam around. The secondary for LSU. This is a top 5 likely defense in college football. But you know who else looks like a top 5 defense in college football? That's the Miami Hurricanes. And all the talk about this other group of defensive players, for another team like the Clemson Tigers with Peter Woods, TJ Parker. Rueben Bain Jr. for Miami has played easily like a top 5 pick in the upcoming NFL draft. This guy's ability off of the edge has arguably been second to none in college football this year. Immediately made that defense elite this season. How does Florida attack Miami on the road? Well, first of all, they cannot get into a shootout with them. They cannot allow Carson Beck to sit back there and throw the ball 35 times. That does not bode well for them. They need to run the football. They have to get the ball to Jaden Baugh, who toted it well. Only 10 times, though. We touched on the point of the athletes that LSU has. How about taking advantage of weeks going down with the targeting call? And I don't want to talk about this because I love to keep things positive, but the targeting call has got to get out of there. Too many talented players. We saw it later on in the Notre Dame A&M game. Another captain getting sent out, but I just can't have that experience of seeing more talented players get knocked out of the game. The Gators aren't able to take advantage. Defensively, the Gators have been fine. 5 interceptions. They hold LSU to 20 points. Making Garrett Nussmeier with those weapons and Brown, Nick Anderson, Aaron Anderson, limiting them. Running the football for LSU. Less than 4 yards a carry on the day. I can look to so many positive things for Florida heading into this game for Miami, but you can't help but fall back on what we said in the beginning, that Carson Beck is a Heisman favorite, the Heisman favorite now. Best odds to win it at the end of the season because he's experienced, because the guy has only lost 3 college football games in his career as a starter. And DJ Lagway, you can't help but feel, is a year away from having that type of impact, from being able to see the field at a high level. Now, I'll argue this. The Miami's wide receivers, their core, have been able to do Carson Beck a lot more favors. They were able to do the exact same thing for Cam Ward a year ago. That's exactly why he came in as a transfer from Washington State, winds up the first overall pick. Again, adding to that story for Beck. This guy is scapegoated from Georgia, sent away. They just won the SEC title. Beck goes out to Miami. Everybody's talking about it. A lot of the narratives aren't positive. What does he do? He starts off the season with 3 big wins, 2 of them against ranked opponents. And now he's got Florida walking into town. And they're not going to take Florida lightly. Now, where's the lean in this? It's Miami. That defense. I have a lot of faith in their ability to contain DJ Lagway, to be able to make him sit back in the pocket, staring down at too high, with a tarp over the top of that defense, in a 4-man rush that gets there, and deliver the ball down the field. That's what it's going to come down to. His ability to decipher coverage and get the ball down the field and extend plays with his legs, rely on that athleticism, and get 3 or 4 of those plays that all of those offensive coordinators talk about. I want 3 or 4 plays out of you that are off script first downs. It's just you out there creating. We have to see that from DJ Lagway. For Carson Beck and this team, it's just a way more straight line path. Okay, we're going to keep running the football well. We've got all these weapons on the outside that we're going to continue to distribute because we have a quarterback that's a point guard back there that has won a bunch of games, that has played in big games, that is healthy, moving around well. Confidence, that is the key. Who will be the more confident quarterback on next Saturday? Will it be Carson Beck, who's 3-0, that's got all this hype around him? Because they're not overlooking Florida. Florida can win this game. They absolutely can win this game. But they'll beat Miami because of good quarterback play and their defense stepping up to the challenge and their great defensive line being able to get pressure on Beck. And that starts, though, with stopping the run, and nobody has been able to stop that Miami run game. They've been incredible. They were great last year with the #1 offense in the country, and come back with an even better defense, and the production number-wise is fantastic. They're just efficient. And that's why I believe in Miami. So I have the Hurricanes winning this game in a tight manner. They put up 27 points on that Florida defense, and they hold on for a close 27-20 win. A good game. I like Lagway to play better, but they're not able to pull it out. 1-2 in that schedule. It's just brutal. You feel for Florida. I feel for Billy Napier. Lagway obviously hasn't played at the level there was people expecting or hoping that he would. He'll get there. A ton of talent. Miami right now, that team is playing at such a high level. I can't go with Florida in this game. So let me know down below in the comments who you think wins this matchup, why I'm right, why I may be wrong, and we will ultimately end up seeing once this game is played. So I appreciate you so much for watching. I make football content every single day, NFL, college. Please subscribe for more in the future, and I will see you next time. Let's enjoy this one.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blunder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.